All right, so how are you guys feeling so far, right? Let's just take a moment. I want to know how you guys are feeling so far. So I'm going to put something right below this video. I want you guys to let me know, how are you feeling so far? Right? I hope you are really just taking it easy on yourself. I hope that, like I said in the beginning, you are avoiding distractions during this teaching, during this course, and really making the most out of it. I really hope that you're using your journal to really journal down each and every excerpt that I'm doing. If you haven't, if you missed the step, I encourage you to go back. Don't miss a step. Don't miss a step. Don't skip a step and think like, oh, I've done that already, or I'm beyond that, or I've accomplished that. Don't skip any steps, because this is very, very important as we get ready to move into this next phase. So this next piece is about finding people in your field that are doing what you want to do and brainstorming how you can do it better. How you can do it better. So if you think about Apple and Microsoft, right? Microsoft started and they had great technology. I mean, I still use some Microsoft technology. But then you have Apple. Apple was like, okay, how can we invent or create something that was already there, but do it better? But not only do it better, but build a system. Right, in the last phase of this video, I talked about finding a system, building a system, connecting yourself to a system that's going to sustain you. So Apple was like, how can we build a system that will live beyond us, right? Steve Jobs, I mean, he's gone, but it's still, his company is still living and thriving and breathing, and everyone loves Apple. I mean, look at me. You know, I have iPhone, I have Apple. So with that, I want you to think about, what are people, who are the people that are doing what you're doing, and how can you do it better? How can you do it better? How can you do it better? Not that you're trying to beat them, right? Well, I mean, you are, but not necessarily in a competitive, negative way, but just in a healthy way. Like, okay, what are they doing? But how can I add my spin on this, right? How can I add my sauce on this? How can I add my touch, my fragrance, my imprint, my blueprint? How can I add that on top of that? So take a moment to think about people that are doing what you want to do in your field. Who's doing what you want to do? Who's doing what you want to do? So say for instance, there's a vegan restaurant, right? There's a vegan restaurant that's really popular. I guess it's called the Slutty Vegan. Okay, this is not a promo at all. I think it's down in Atlanta maybe. It's called the Slutty Vegan. Right? And in that area, there were other vegan restaurants, right? Maybe those other vegan restaurants were called Healthy Foods, or Good Food Today, or, you know, Whole and Healthy, or Vegans, you know, Vegans Delight. I don't know. But then she's like, okay, I see the vegans have restaurants maybe in this area or in Atlanta, but I want to put a spin on it. I want to call it the Slutty Vegan, right? And we're going to have all of like these delicious recipes, these big sandwiches. Like, I'll see the images on social media. I'm like, wow, that looks really good to be vegan. So she put her sauce on it, right? She put her spin on it, and she put her flavor on it to really brand it. And that's really what it was. It was about branding. So who's doing what you're doing? 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 And if you say no one, guess what? You need to do a little bit more research. Someone's doing something similar. It doesn't even have to be the exact same thing, but someone's journeyed a somewhat similar path. Someone's journeyed a somewhat similar path. Who's doing what you're doing? They may become your mentors one day. Maybe you reach out to them right in the middle of this course. Maybe you shoot them an email. Maybe it's someone that you can actually access. Maybe you go to their Instagram, right? If you go to people's Instagram, a lot of them have email under there. I suggest, if you find someone that you really feel maybe that can even mentor you or give you some advice, or who you want to take out to lunch or dinner, email them, right? Send them an email. You have nothing to lose. Gosh, I'm telling you guys, you have nothing to lose. Everything that I'm teaching you, if you just do it to the max, do it to the max, do it to the max, you have nothing to lose, nothing to lose. Email that person, write that person, ask them out to lunch. Right? If you can't access them like that, just look at their business model. Look at the system. Examine the system that they've built. and consider how you can build that system better. Because at this point, if you completed the last step, I talked about building a system. You look at their system and you figure out how you can build a better system, right? A better system that will sustain and that can live beyond you. Systems can live beyond people. You know, I was having a conversation with someone, and it was a very interesting conversation. He was talking about the drug industry, the narcotics industry, and how the drug industry, literally, the narcotics industry has no face, right? It has no owner. It has no Steve Jobs. It has no Mark Zuckerberg. You know, it has no face that actually started like this industry. Okay, it's no face, but somehow it's kept running all of these years, and people are still doing drugs. I mean, it just is what it is. If you just look at the system of it, it's being sustained without a face, without an owner, without someone running it, right? There's no face to that system. But they've set up a structure where it continues to run and run, and somehow people are still working this system, a part of this system, becoming successful off this system. You know, we're talking about systems, right? So I'm not encouraging you to do drugs. I'm not encouraging any of that. But that was one example someone mentioned to me in a conversation. I thought about it. I was like, yeah. So they were ultimately saying, can your business live without a face? Can your business live beyond you? Do you have a system that can outlive you? Most people in life don't have systems that can outlive them. You may have a business, it can't outlive you. You may have a blog. When you die, that blog's going to die, right? But you can create something that's constantly producing. So get connected with people that have your answer and not your problem. Get away from people, I'm going to say that another way. Get away from people that have your problem and not your answer. You need people that carry your answer. You know, someone reached out to me last night. This person is a multi-millionaire. Just randomly reached out. A multi-millionaire in business and marketing and strategy. Just reached out. Guess what? They have my answer and not my problem. They have my answer. Get around people that have your answer. Who has your answer today? Write that down. Write that down in your notebook. Who has your answer? Who's doing what you're doing? Who's in a lane that you're trying to get in, or something similar, whether it's technology, whether it's fashion, whether it's business, whether it's the entertainment industry, whether it's acting, whatever it may be. Who's doing it so you can do it at the highest level? So take a moment, think about that, really think about it, write it down, and I'll meet you in the next chapter.